We're here today to talk about the speaking module of the IELTS exam and which skills and techniques students need to develop to be successful. We asked an experienced IELTS examiner and teacher, Ranald Barnicott of Barnet College in North London, first to examine 8 candidates at different levels from different nationalities, then to analyse their performances in each part of the speaking module, and finally to assemble a range of extracts to illustrate these skills and techniques. Tell me about the IELTS speaking module.
Well, there are 3 parts in all, lasting between 11 and 14 minutes. The interview is one-to-one, thus candidates are examined individually, not in pairs.
Before you tell me what happens in each part, what's the examiner looking for in general?
Well, there are 4 criteria with which we assess candidates. They are fluency and coherence, vocabulary, accuracy and range of grammar, and pronunciation.
Fluency means being able to speak naturally and without too much hesitation, right?
Yes, and not pausing to correct yourself too much. Also, speaking at a proper speed, not too slow and not too fast. Coherence means that your speech is structured, it's well organised.
I understand vocabulary and pronunciation. Accurate grammar is correct grammar, clearly. But what about range of grammar?
Basically, it means being able to use a wide selection of grammatical forms and sentence structures.
So not too simple.
Precisely.
What happens in the first part of the exam?
In this part, candidates have to answer a number of questions about themselves, their likes and dislikes, habits, plans, etc., and also maybe about people in their country. The subjects might be sport, travel, food, family life, and so on.
Is there anything candidates should concentrate on when answering these questions?
Yes. One important thing is giving extended responses.
You mean long answers?
Yes, not just one-word answers or even just a short, simple phrase or sentence. Let's look at this candidate, Kat.
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Ranald Barnicott. Can you tell me your full name?
Okay, my name is Bairu Jiang, but you can call me Kat.
Okay, Kat. Tell me please, where do you come from?
I come from China. South of China. It's near the sea. It's a very beautiful city. Yeah, it's called Nanning.
Yes, she gave a lot of extra information, didn't she? And she obviously wanted to communicate.
Yes, now look at Gina and Ahmad.
My full name is Ahmed Shakib Mohsini.
And where do you come from, Ahmed?
I come from the Netherlands.
Which sports are most popular in your country?
Football.
Ahmad used rather short sentences. I mean, where did he come from in the Netherlands? And what else is there to say about it? And Gina just answered with one word. This is what Gina said after her exam.
About the sport famous in my country, I should say things like, for example, every Sunday there are a lot of football games, and for example in Bogota there are 2 teams from each city, and some Sundays these 2 teams are playing, and that is so interesting because there's a lot of people who goes to the stadium and go and get fun, a lot of fun, and there is a lot of people singing songs about the one or the other team, and that is interesting about football in my country. So I could say something else about that.
Another thing that helps is the use of fillers, words we put in to give us time to think, like sort of and you know, or anyway. Now listen to Kat and Gina and let's see what kind of fillers they use.
Let's move on to talk about sport. How much time do you spend playing or watching sports?
Uh, in fact, I love swimming, but in winter I come. So normally I would do lots of sports in summer, but not in winter.
How much time do you spend playing or watching sports?
Not at all. Actually, I just play just a little tennis, and I really don't like to watch sports. I don't like football or tennis. I don't like it so much.
I think Kat used in fact and Gina used actually, didn't she?
Yes. However, fillers are not always a good thing, not when they become mechanical or sometimes their use is inappropriate. Look at these two examples of Ahmad using of course.
Do you think all children should do some sport?
Of course, it's very necessary
Why?
because if you have a good condition, you always have some motivation. You should always be active to be healthy and to study better.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you about cooking. Do you like cooking?
Yes, of course. Sometimes I like to cook, but it's mostly some fast food. I've not enough time to cook too much.
The second use is inappropriate. Why should we suppose that he likes cooking? In the first example, his vocabulary was rather good though. For example, he said motivation. In this part of the speaking module, the examiner asks the candidate to talk for 1 or 2 minutes about a topic, usually something in the candidate's personal experience, something they've done or would like to do, somewhere they've been, someone they know, etc. The examiner gives the candidate a card with a topic written on it with 4 points they must mention.
Does the candidate have any time to prepare their talk?
Yes, up to a minute to write some notes. Let's have a look.
In this part, I'm going to ask you to talk about a topic for 1 or 2 minutes. Firstly, you are going to have a chance to prepare your talk and write a few notes. Here's a piece of paper and a pencil for writing your notes, and here's your topic. I'd like you to describe a shop that you enjoy going to.
The candidate has to say where the shop is, what it sells, how often he or she goes there. They also have to explain why they enjoy visiting it. This card is pretty clear, but sometimes they might have to ask the examiner to explain something, like a word or how exactly the task is supposed to be done.
So they should ask, what does this word mean, or something like that?
Yes, or so can I talk about a market I visit at weekends?
Anything that the candidate should keep in mind while writing notes?
Well, it's a good idea to write keywords, important vocabulary which the candidate can use during the talk. And let's see 2 examples of notes.
The second one's called a word web, isn't it?
Yes, not that you always have to write notes like that, but some candidates find it helps them to think of things to say.
Yes, it certainly looks better organised than the first one, and there are lots of key words. Any other tips for when the candidate is actually speaking?
Yes, it's important to be quite natural and look at the examiner. Let's see how Kat does this.
All right? Okay. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes of this, so don't worry if I stop you. Okay. Can you start talking now, please?
Okay. I enjoy going to the shop named Top Shop, which at Oxford Street. mm, I like to shop. I like to shop in there because how to say it's really fit for a young person, and they're not really expensive. I can find anything there which I want, clothes, choices, everything for the body.
Yes, she does smile a lot and there's good eye contact with you.
That's right. She's not very fluent though, as there's a lot of stopping and starting. And as far as vocabulary is concerned, fit is the wrong choice. It should be suitable. Also, her notes aren't helping her much. They're not very well organised.
But she does keep going, doesn't she?
Yes, that's very important. Now, look at Ahmad.
I'm going sometimes to bookshop in Oxford Street, and they sell books in almost every subject in life, from science to cooking, and from different kind of subjects.
Yes, he looks at you now and again, but not really enough. And he's very serious. Can I see a candidate doing a whole part too?
Why not? Let's take Juan. He's the one who did the word web.
Remember, you only have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so please don't worry if I stop you. Would you like to start speaking now?
I'm quite interested in sports stuff, so I usually go to Nike Town in Oxford Circus. So there are lots of sports stuff in Nike Town. I've never seen something like a Nike Town in Korea, so I really prefer to visit to see the Nike Town. So, and I usually buy some T-shirts from Nike Town, and sometimes I bought a trainer, which I need to. In this I usually work quite long time, so I need to buy some comfortable trainer. So, and sometimes I need to buy protector to my wrist. I have quite a weak wrist, so sometimes I bought the protector and football. Yes, and I usually go there twice a month, and to buy some stuff, socks or trainer, T-shirts. Yes.
All right. So when did you last go there?
Last Sunday. I've been there last Sunday, and I bought some socks and protector for my wrist.
And do you like to go there by yourself or with someone else?
I usually go to with my friend, but when I go there with my friend, I can speak lots of things. I can ask their opinion, something like that. But sometimes it's quite too uncomfortable. I have to follow their opinion or their way. So I prefer go to my friend.
You asked a couple of questions at the end.
Yes, these follow-up questions are called bridging questions to enable us to move smoothly onto part 3. His talk did seem well organised. He mentioned everything on the card and had enough to say. As for his language, there were some pronunciation problems, such as a confusion between P and F. And his intonation was a bit flat. His vocabulary was a bit simple, though he did use one specialist word, protector.
He kept repeating Nike Town.
Yes, you need to connect your ideas using pronouns like it or there, or phrases like this shop. That's part of coherence. Also, his grammatical range was rather limited, especially at the beginning, but his ability to organise his material was a positive point.
So what happens in the third part of the speaking module?
Well, like part 1, it's a question and answer session. But it's more of a discussion based on the topic of part 2, in this case shopping. The candidate should be able to answer questions about society, the educational system, the environment, and so on.
Any advice?
Well, as in part 2, if the candidate doesn't understand anything, they should ask the examiner to explain. Kat doesn't do this.
Are there certain kinds of shop that are becoming more popular?
Sorry?
Are there certain kinds of shop that people are going to more than they used to before? Do people enjoy shopping now in certain shops that they didn't go to before?
Sorry, I'm not really understand.
But Kwan does it rather well.
People say that this society that we live in is very consumerist. Do you think that this brings any disadvantages?
Consumer as a consumer.
Consumerism is when everything is directed towards buying. Okay.
Yes.
We are encouraged to buy more and more, and that is what people value.
Yes.
So do you think this is a good or a bad development?
I think that is good for our economy. Just if we don't want to spend money, our economy system will be stopped. So government should encourage to spend money to their people.
Yes, he responds immediately, whereas she just looked blank.
And he used a good conditional sentence with if, fairly complex.
Good grammatical range.
Yes, there are also certain language skills that the candidate is expected to show. For example, to express an opinion with an appropriate introducing expression, such as I think, in my opinion, what I think is, and to support that opinion.
Less safe than if you pay by debit. But no, I think there is no disadvantage. I think it's good. I think it's safe for everybody not to carry the money inside their wallet.
We're looking for wider vocabulary, not just I think,